Hey guys, I know this video is not going to be popular. I know a lot of people are going to give me a lot of shit about this video, but don't give a shit, so I'm just going to do it anyway. And for any of you who are wondering, when is part 2 to Why This Generation Sucks, when is that coming? It's not. I actually regret making that video. I don't feel like taking it down for any of you who strangely like it. But anyway, I'm going to be ranting on 90's kids. Now, these guys just really drive me crazy. Like, they're coming on these places like Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, even YouTube sometimes, in this one app called iFunny. And pretty much all they do is just brag about the fact that they were born in the 90's, they were raised in the 90's, and nobody fucking cares that you grew up in the 90's, okay? I mean, like, why? Also, one thing that gets annoying is how they take something that was around in the 90's, that was still around in the 2000s, and they say, only 90's kids remember this. Or they take something that was barely around in the 90's, like Ed, Edd n Eddy, and, what else? Shit, the Powerpuff Girls, and then they're like, oh, only 90's kids remember these shows. Really? Only 90's kids remember Ed, Edd n Eddy? Shows like Ed, Edd n Eddy and the Powerpuff Girls? Please. I'm 16, I remember those shows. I used to watch them when I was younger. Oh yeah, and also how they even took shows that weren't even in the fucking 90's, like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Samurai Jack, and they're saying only 90's kids remember this. Really? No. Those weren't even around in the 90's. Like, are you fucking stupid or something? And also, one thing that gets on my nerves about these kids is how they go around acting like, I mean, they're not kids anymore, but one thing that gets on my nerves about 90's kids is how they always go around and act like they're the only ones who remember the 90's with this only 90's kids remember bullshit. Really? So, pretty much you all had jobs back then. You were capable of taking care of yourselves. Like, you made everything that you played with. You made every cartoon you watched. You played with every toy that you played with. You made every toy that you played with. And you're telling me that there were no adults? You're telling me that on January 1st, 1990, all the adults in the 90's, all the adults went in a coma, and it was just you kids running the country, running the world back then? Is that what you're saying? And you're saying that kids like me, I was born in 98, you're telling me I came from the fucking stork? Is that it? Like, really? Nah, that's bullshit. Like, what about the adults who made the stuff for you? They don't remember the 90's? What about the doctors who took care of you? They don't remember the 90's? Teachers who taught you? They don't remember the 90's? You're telling me that a bunch of kids kids in the 90's, they're the only ones who remember the 90's. And they don't remember, and the adults who made the stuff that you played with or watched, they don't remember it. Wow. Just wow. Fucking pathetic. And also, one thing that gets on my nerves about these kids is how they go around going like, oh, all kids today are stupid because they don't know what a floppy disk is. They don't know what a Walkman is. They don't know what a VHS tape is. Even though nobody uses those things anymore, kids today are stupid because they have no idea what they are. Really, do you see stores still selling those things? I don't. Other than a fucking thrift store, no. I mean, how can kids today be stupid for not knowing what a VHS tape is or what a Walkman is if nobody uses them anymore? Also, one thing that gets on my nerves about them, related to how they make fun of kids today, is how they assume all kids today are stupid. Really, all kids today are stupid. And they assume that every kid today has sex and does drugs and drinks alcohol. Oh, so what? Every kid in the 90's was an angel who obeyed their parents, waited till they were 18 to start having sex, and waited till they were 21 to drink alcohol? And you're telling me that no kid in the 90's has ever had sex underage, done drugs, or drank alcohol underage? You're telling me that every kid in the 90's has never done that before? That's some bullshit right there. I've seen movies that were made in the 80s that were about teenagers, and from what I've seen, they were going out buying liquor underage with a fake ID. You're saying that back then kids and teenagers weren't stupid? Nah, that's bullshit. Everybody was stupid at one point. Every kid and teenager was stupid. Well, not every kid and teenager was stupid, but in every generation, every decade, there was at least one stupid kid and one stupid teenager doing stuff like that. I mean, how can you all think that the 90s is so special? Like, you think you're special just because you were born and grew up in a decade. Wow, you're so special. Ooh, you want a fucking medal? Yeah, I'm giving myself a brain aneurysm doing this shit. Like, you all are just a bunch of assholes. I mean, nobody gives a damn that you grew up in the 90s. I don't. Also, one thing that gets on my nerves about 90s kids is they act like that once January 1st, 2000 happened, everything from the 90s just disappeared out of thin air, so they act like they're the only ones who remembered. Like, they act like when 2000 happened, Pokemon disappeared. They act like the Nintendo 64 completely disappeared. That's bullshit right there. Because the PlayStation, the Nintendo 64, they stopped making that shit in like 2002 or 3 or something. And Pokemon is still around today. And you're saying that you're special just because you watched it in the... Oh yeah, that's another thing that gets on my nerves about 90s kids. How they take something that was around in the 90s, and then they act like they're so special just because they had it or did it in the 90s. Even though that kids in the 2000s were still doing it too. Like the Super S thing. Yeah, I know what that is. Where you take those 6 lines and then you would draw that S. Kid, I was in 4th grade from 2007 to 2008, and I remember kids in my class drawing that S. It's not just a 90s thing, you dumbasses. I mean, like, fuck off, really. Nobody gives a damn that you grew up in the 90s. I know I said that like 10 times in this video before, but I really don't fucking care. Nobody does. You grew up in the 90s? Pfft, that's great. I don't care. Nobody cares. And why do you all think that you're so special just because you grew up in a decade? Nobody is special for growing up in a fucking decade. You want a fucking medal? Like I said earlier, you want a fucking medal because you grew up in the 90s? I'll happily give you a fucking medal. Oh my. Oh yeah, and also, I saw in this one video about 90s kids where they said that all kids today are spoiled brats who go to their parents begging, "Oh, I want a new iPhone. I want a new Xbox One or PlayStation 4 or whatever." And also how they say that every kid today, when they don't get what they want, they throw a hissy fit and complain to their parents, "I hate you. I didn't want this. I want to move on. I fucking hate you, Mom and Dad." And you're acting like that no kid back then has ever done that. Like they received something from their parents they didn't want and then they were screaming, "I hate you." You're acting like nobody did that back then. Also, I think it's pretty hilarious how 90s kids, they make fun of cartoons today, but then a majority of them are watching Regular Show and Adventure Time. Now, I don't have anything against those shows, but they're fucking hypocrites. I mean, you're gonna say all cartoons today are stupid, but you're gonna watch Regular Show and Adventure Time. Last time I checked, those are shows made today, in the 21st century. So you're telling me that cartoons today are stupid, but yet you're gonna watch cartoons today. Wow, that's just sad. Really fucking sad. Yeah, I don't know what else I have to say about 90s kids. I mean, really, if you have anything to say, comment, like, subscribe. And if you get offended at I know this video won't be popular, But I know this video ain't gonna be popular because I stutter a lot and I just insulted a whole group of kids a whole group of people who think they're so special. But hey, you really aren't special. Just because you grew up in the 90s, that doesn't mean you're special. I was born in 98, and I don't think I'm special. Oh, and let me just point out that even though I was born in 98, I grew up with the pain of dial-up internet, having to rewind tapes, and I had to watch cartoons on a Saturday morning because I didn't have cable. Yes, I know how it all feels. And especially when the phone rang and how I got disconnected from the internet, I understand the feeling of that. You guys are not the only ones. I had dial-up up until 2006. And yeah, I understand how tedious it was having to rewind a tape every now and then, and having to wake up at the right time to watch cartoons on a Saturday morning. So, you all are not the only ones who've experienced stuff like that. Believe me. So this has been a new video. I know I haven't made a new one in a while. YouTube is just starting to fucking piss me off with all this Google Plus bullshit. Yeah, I mean, the people at Google are complete assholes for coming up with that shit. Who the fuck do they think they are? So anyway, this has been a rant about 90s kids. Also, one thing to say before I officially close this video is that I think it's funny how you all complain that this generation sucks. But guess what? You all are not making it better by doing this shit. You really aren't. You all are part of the reason why this generation sucks. I mean, I don't go all out posting stuff on the internet saying that this generation sucks, and I can handle living in this generation. But really, you all are not making it better. You all complain about this generation being stupid, but like I said 2 times before, you're not making it better. Goodbye.